What is good, Alphas? What is do, baby? What is up, guys? Hope you guys enjoying your Wednesday. And today's video is about the Houston Astros scandal or cheating sign scandal. So recently, if you guys did not find out, Alex Cora is no longer the Red Sox manager. So he's out. He's part of the scandal, part of the cheating, what the Astros did with the camera in center field. So I'm going to be showing a video, a reaction. I'm going to react to the Houston Astros cheating and from what they did in 2017. And we're going to be watching how they did it. And like always, I'll see you at the end of the video, Alphas. Yo, let's
the Major League Baseball cheating scandal sending shockwaves around the world. The owner of the Houston Astros fired
surprising, man.
The team's general manager and manager after an investigation found that the Astros cheated by stealing signs during their World Series championship season.
Of course they did.
Neither one of them started this, but neither one of them did anything about it, and that's how we came to the conclusion. We need to move forward with a clean slate, and the Astros will become stronger.
How will they become stronger?
A stronger organization because of this today.
How will they become stronger?
They would have been suspended for a season anyway, even if they hadn't been fired.
Yeah.
Joining me now is legendary sportscaster and MLB Network host Bob Costas. Bob, thanks so much for being with us.
Their
I think
GM.
every baseball fan in America yesterday, when this ruling came down, had the same response that I did, which was, wow.
I don't blame you.
Just so our CNN viewers, who are used to maybe impeachment in Iran and other things, know what we're talking about.
This happened more quickly than impeachment.
Absolutely.
By the way.
In 15 seconds,
it was a long time coming.
What is stealing signs? And
I'm so happy.
Stealing signs
Every
has always
baseball
been part
fan
of baseball.
that does not like the Astros
powers of observation,
and literally does not like the fact that everyone knew that they were cheating. I'm so happy, bro.
By using anything outside of that, by using technology, even back in primitive days, they used to use telescopes sometimes from
the center field bleachers
and some sort of makeshift signaling system.
How did they?
Now the technology is so sophisticated.
How did they do it?
And ever evolving.
All these years,
who knows how much more sophisticated it'll be next week or next year? MLB and other sports have to get ahead of it and draw a very decisive line in the sand, which Rob Manfred, the commissioner, did yesterday with his penalties, and then Jim Crane, as you said, doubled down by firing
what's the best you guys are gonna do?
Very clear.
Take away 2 first-round picks. Fire every single person that's involved. Beltran has something to do with it, but he was a player when they did it.
Look at it this way.
Cora has something to do with it mostly. He was like the main accomplice
in it all. When you go in to take the SAT,
Hinch,
none of that
who
technology
had something to do with it.
Whatever you've learned and studied prior
I feel like the players had involvement too. They knew what was going on.
And until the last pitch of the game, the idea is no technology.
The signs are to figure out what the pitcher is going to throw.
It doesn't matter
what the pitcher is going to throw.
Technology or no technology,
you have a much better chance of hitting it.
Not only to hit it, but to lay off of it. Because the idea of non-fastballs is deception. So if you're looking fastball and you're fooled, then perhaps you chase that pitch.
I agree.
So it's not just what you swing at, it's what you don't swing at.
And now the Astros, Major League Baseball found, didn't just steal signs using their wits and cameras.
They literally used freaking watches too.
Boy, they devised this incredible, intricate system. Again, explain what they did.
They literally, I feel like they literally cheated more than
now
just
a replay
stealing signs from a camera.
Every dugout
they had watches, they had everything humanly possible, like trash cans.
And so
they
were
used
using the center field
people,
camera,
like security,
you see
to look at
95% of the
cameras
time on
from
a regular
below,
telecast.
from like in the dugout below, like the locker room area where the players are.
But just the regular telecast,
I feel like they had more than just even that.
Camera. You can see the catcher's signs, and if you're sophisticated enough, perhaps you can decode them. And so they were using that system to decode signs, and then they had what doesn't seem like a very sophisticated system. They were taking a bat and banging it on a trash can. No bang on the trash can, fastball. Bang on the trash can, some sort of off-speed pitch.
And just to put in perspective why this matters in particular, the Houston Astros won the World Series in 2017, and the Red Sox,
and they
who
cheated.
are implicated
They
in
took
a
our
different
Yankees
way,
chip away,
won
bro.
in 2018.
They
We're
took
talking
our
about
championship
2 out of the last
away.
3 world champions.
Yeah, and it could have been all 3 because
that
the
championship
Astros
that year should have been ours, bro. It went to a Game 7 in 2017. If they knew that they were cheating 2 years ago or 3 years ago, then when did they take care of it before that? Before it got to this?
The prominence of these two teams, but also Hinch and
Why
Cora,
didn't they stop them
universally
earlier? I
regarded
get
as
it.
2 of the
But, like,
best
why?
managers in the game. They're both in their 40s, bright,
Oh,
young,
bull
very
crap.
appealing,
Cora
popular with
is
the
a
media.
cheater.
So this is a very
Hinch is more of a
high-profile deal.
cheater.
What does it tell you that Manfred,
Stop
Rob
giving them
Manfred, the commissioner of
credit.
Major League Baseball,
Literally, Cora went back to back. He won it with Houston 17, and then he went with the Red Sox in 18. How did the Red Sox win it in 18? They were probably the best team other than LA. It took down the Astros in the ALCS last year, not this year. They took them down in 2018.
You think the
now,
reward is
how
worth
did
the
this
risk?
Red Sox team,
This is what
all
can
of a
happen.
sudden,
And something else
including
to watch.
Houston's team
No
from
players
17,
were
magically
penalized,
freaking
even
win
though
a
we know
World
that Carlos
Series?
Beltran, who is now
This is
the
more
manager
than
of the
just
Mets, or about
sign
to be,
stealing.
was in
I
his
think this
final
is
year as a player
more
in 2017, and prized for his ability,
it's all
his great
complicated, but I
baseball
feel like
IQ.
there's more
So
to
he
this
was
all.
part
And I feel
of
like
this.
they're not explaining
Manfred
it, bro.
said we can't begin penalizing players because almost everybody in the clubhouse knew it's hard to sort it all out.
Of course they knew.
An upcoming negotiation between the Players Association and the owners and management. And they might be able to make the argument, I'll try to be as concise as I can here, that just as in the steroid era, the Players Association lost sight of the fact that many players who didn't use steroids were victims of those who did, or they were forced to use against their better judgment just to keep up.
Wow, so you're going to go back to the steroid
got somebody
era.
stealing signs and gaining an unfair competitive advantage, that's hurting some of the Players Association's membership. So you could sit down at the bargaining table and say, you know what, this is an area of mutual interest. We've got to codify penalties for players if they're convincingly involved, as well as coaches, managers, front office people.
It's one of the curious things about these penalties, and Rob Manfred did act swiftly, but
criticized as well.
His investigation found
whoever
it
was
the players
involved,
who were
including
behind
the
this
players,
not the manager, who, by the way, tried to smash the monitors that were being used.
A.J. Hinch knew about it, didn't approve of it, but did not stop it.
But it was the players who were behind it, and not a single player was penalized.
For the last 2 years.
That's odd.
The rationale is that the adults in the room, so to speak, are the manager, the general manager, the front office people. They are ultimately responsible for the culture of what goes on within their team. But I think if they can figure out a way that wouldn't have them in litigation or arbitration constantly, because the Players Association has historically been a formidable adversary. If they could figure out a way to codify this and put penalties in place that would also be a deterrent to the players, they would do it.
All right, I'm going to throw a couple straw men at you, and I want you to explain or knock them down. Number one, why is it the Astros get to keep their World Series here? They won with cheating over the year.
Yes.
On top of that, there are pitchers who lost strikeouts. There are stats that were
this
all
guy
blown
is
up.
understanding the mojo were.
I think the rationale and
why they still have their trophy, I don't know.
The history is, look, we know that the 1919 Chicago White Sox, known as the Black Sox, think of 8 men out, that they threw the World Series. At least some of them conspired to throw the World Series. But the record book still says that the Cincinnati Reds are the 1919 world champions. And the record book, look at it any way you want, says that Barry Bonds has more home runs than Hank Aaron. And that Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and Barry Bonds all hit more home runs in a season than Babe Ruth or Roger Maris. But the fans and baseball historians make of that what they will, even though it's there in stark black and white in the record books. And I think their notion is, look, if we start parsing all this, when does it end? If we pull on this thread, does the whole garment unravel? With steroids, who was using, who wasn't using, who gained an advantage, who didn't gain an advantage? Did one team have more guys using steroids than another? Almost impossible to determine, and kind of lost in the shuffle in this thing about the Astros and then maybe about the Red Sox, is that the commissioner's investigation showed that at least 8 other teams, not as prominent and not as successful, at least 8 other teams had sign-stealing schemes of their own. So I think that Manfred is content with, or at least to this point, he'll go only this far. We issued these penalties, not just the suspensions, but a $5 million fine for the Astros, and they lost both their first and second round draft choices
just be $5
this year
million.
and next. That's significant. We'll go that far, and we'll hope that this serves as a deterrent going forward.
All right. The other straw man is the exact opposite of the argument I was just making. One of my favorite sayings in NASCAR is, if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right.
Everyone does this, the argument goes.
Wow.
How would you respond to that?
Well, supposedly that was some of the justification during the so-called steroid era. Everybody was doing it. It was the Wild West. Well, that might have some effect on how you judge those who use steroids individually. Might have some effect to say, he's not the worst person who ever lived. He's a nice guy. He got caught up in it. But if it was okay, then everybody would openly admit it.
Right.
Why would it be clandestine if it was okay? Why didn't people say in 1996, sure, I'm using PEDs. Everybody does. Sure, I wanted to hit 45 home runs instead of 22. Sure, what's the problem? Nobody said it because they all knew that it was cheating. They all knew at some level it was wrong. Why until Mike Fiers, who was with the Astros and since has been with two other clubs,
I gotta say this too.
The Athletic,
I give credit to Mike
why
Fiers
did no
because
player and almost every player in the clubhouse, whether
had
they
so much
individually
credit for
benefited or
this.
not, they all knew it was happening.
If it wasn't for
Why
him,
didn't anybody
none of
say
this stuff
something?
wouldn't have
Because
came
either
out
if they were
about the
involved in doing it,
Astros
they knew they were cheating, or
about
the
them
code
like
of
stealing
omerta
signs
that
and everything.
generally
So I got to
applies
give
within
Mike Fiers,
clubhouses,
my
which is
boy
no
Mike
matter what
Fiers,
happens
credit.
here, we're not going to rat out
Yes,
any
he's
of
a
our
former
teammates. We're part of
Astro.
the
Don't hate
brotherhood.
on him.
So
but you know what?
know. The answer
He
to your
did the
question
right
is
thing and
they
ratted the
know it's
Astros
wrong.
out for the cheating.
My wife brought up this point.
He ratted
last
out
night.
Hinch,
Talk about sports.
Cora,
Why do you have your kids
the
play
organization,
sports? You have your
for what they
kids
did.
play sports, they get
So
a
I got to give him
workout, to
so
have
much credit
community.
on that.
Because it's fair in competition. Cheating stinks.
Of
And
course,
we
it
now
stinks.
see it at the highest levels of athletic competition in a lot of different places.
You know, no matter how much sports may change, no matter how many things we may find objectionable within sports, at the core of it, if the competition is not credible, if you don't believe in the integrity of the competition, you might as well just go watch the WWE, if that's all it is to you. So on the one hand, we're going to look at 6 different angles to parse a call in the second quarter of a game in October, all right? But we're not going to care about PEDs. We're not going to care about stealing signs.
I mean,
You can't have it both ways. This is a question of competitive integrity, and no one should be so naive as to believe that everything in modern sports is the absolute epitome of every all-American ideal and guys on a Wheaties box. We know that's not true. But if you can't believe in the basic honesty and integrity of the competition itself, stop watching.
Bob Costas, thank you so much for being with us. An education, I think we all got today on all this.
Alphas, all I'm going to say for this video, my little, before I do the outro, is this scandal did not just ruin baseball a little bit for fans of baseball for what the Astros did. It ruined every Yankees fan in 2017 because of what they did, how they cheated, how they got away with it, how they won the World Series against the Dodgers, which I got to give so much credit to the Dodgers. They worked their butts off just like the Yankees did. And no one thought that 17 Yankees were not going to win at all. No one had no doubt that they weren't going to win. They were down 2-0 to the Indians, and they came back and they beat them. They won 3 straight. Then they got down 2-0 against the Astros that were cheating, clearly cheating. They could have went 2-0 if the Astros weren't cheating. They could have been up 2-0, even in Houston. Or they could have won a game like they did recently this year. They could have won, all right? I'm going to be kind of honest, too, about one other thing. They could have won the World Series as well. No one basically picked the Yankees to win even that year, but you know what? I'm not going to be a Yankee. I'm not going to be an Astro hater because what they did to us. I'm being more of an actual baseball fan, and because I know a good amount of baseball. So is my friend Chris and everyone else like Gary, and a lot of my friends that I know. And a lot of people do not like what the Astros did, and I feel like doing what they did with Cora, Hinch, even the GM, and just giving them $5 million of a fine and taking a couple of draft picks away, it's not even good enough. I feel like they could have took the title away from them in 2017, and they could have gave it to the Dodgers because the Dodgers earned it more than what the Houston Astros did. So if anyone has any comments, put them down below. if what the Houston Astros did, if they deserve a better punishment to what the MLB gave them, I feel like they deserved a little bit more. I think they could have took more draft picks away. I feel like they could have done more stuff to punish the Astros for what they did. I feel like they could have punished them even more than just do what they did. As well, Alphas, and like always, stay hungry, Alphas.